Penguin Random House Audio presents Strangers and Cousins. This is the author, Leah Hager Cohen. To Osfa, Veharegel Shalanu. Episode 1, Monday, 4 days before the wedding. The redcoats are coming. The redcoats are coming. Pim sounds the alarm. He's decked out in Minuteman regalia, his sister's old blue windbreaker, too big for him, mercifully, since it's all he has on, and Aunt Glad could arrive any minute now. Even so, the pale cabbage of his bottom flashes beneath the hem as he gallops along the upstairs hallway. The dark wainscoting and wooden floors are giving off a swollen, spiced scent, and the window at the end of the hall shows a square of glaucous sky. It's been raining for days. Bennie, his mother, catches sight of the self-appointed sentry as his mission takes him past the open bathroom door. She's kneeling on the bath mat, helping Mantha wash her hair. Mantha, previous owner of the windbreaker, is 8 and would normally be able to handle this task on her own. But in her current state, sporting a blue fiberglass elbow-to-wrist cast on her left arm, she must submit to her mother's assistance. She sits in the tub with her head thrown back, eyes pinched shut, mouth a perfect prune. Pim, recently ejected from the tub himself, doubles back long enough to thrust his head in the doorway and repeat his echoic warning. And Bennie glances up at him, at 5 her youngest, hovering there still pink-skinned, damp hair sticking out every which way, imploring her to, what exactly? Express alarm? Muster arms? And a current of amusement ripples through her, his urgency, his nudity. But she issues only a short imperative, pajamas, before turning back to her daughter and tipping a pot full of water over the cream-rinse clotted hair. "When are they coming?" asks Mantha, after she is done spluttering. She splutters ostentatiously after every potful, no matter how carefully her mother ensures the water does not run over her face. When are who coming? Bennie, picturing redcoats, frowns. Everyone. Oh, right, the invasion. Everyone, or something very close, will be descending on them in the coming days, summoned together by the impending revels. Clem and Diggs are getting married. Clem, the oldest of Bennie's 4 children, is planning at the ridiculously tender age of 22, never mind that Bennie was a bride at that very age, to wed her college girlfriend in 4 days' time. Bennie still can't quite believe it. With a not uncheery sigh, she runs through the list of expected arrivals, a helpful reminder for herself as well as Mantha. There's Aunt Glad, speeding here at this very moment. Walter left over an hour ago to pick her up at the assisted living center in Fishkill. Then Clem and her 2 bridesmaids, due later this evening. Spread out over tomorrow and Wednesday, Bennie's siblings arrive, Lloyd with his daughter and Aunt Carrie with her brood. What's a brood, Mantha wants to know? A whole bunch of chicks, or, in this case, Aunt Carrie's kids. She only has 2. I was being ironic. What's ironic? Actually, maybe I was being sarcastic. Mantha tallies the kids in her own family. Pim, her, Tom, and Clem. Are we a brood? And how? Mantha laughs. Anyway, Bennie resumes her itinerary. Thursday is when Diggs and Co. arrive, driving up from Falls Church, Virginia. Who's Co? Short for company. In this case, Diggs's father and stepmother. The and Co. contingent, along with various other, less intimately connected family members and friends, are putting up, thank goodness, not here but at the Garrison Inn in town. The future in-laws had been invited to stay here, but their demurral came, quite frankly, as a relief, a reflection not on them, but on the haphazard hazards of daily life behind the scenes with the Blumenthals. Bennie doubted the Digginses would be well served by witnessing, at this early juncture, just how chaotic a family their daughter was marrying into. Even so, their own house has been tasked with accommodating 9 extra people in addition to the 6 who officially lived here, because Clem after next weekend won't. What almost no one knows is that Clem is the tip of the exodus. It isn't simply that Clem will presumably, in the natural order of things, be followed by the next oldest, Tom, and eventually by Mantha here, and one day even by that little half-naked militia man tearing up and down the hallway now, hollering, what is he hollering? Grab your muskets, men! It's that very soon none of the family will live here anymore, here in the house where Bennie has lived her whole life, and where her mother grew up as well, and before her, Aunt Glad, who is in fact Bennie's great-aunt. Walter and Bennie have agreed not to say anything until next week after the wedding, after the meeting with the real estate agent. For years they've had a running joke about putting the house on the market, mostly taking the form of idle quips about abandoning ship in the wake of some new thing going wrong, some not inconsiderable plumbing bill or carpentry bill or masonry bill, not to mention the great bat exclusion fiasco, which led to the great chimney rebuilding fiasco. But over the past 6 months, the conversation turned serious. And it wasn't any longer just the house they spoke of leaving, but Rundle Junction itself. Still, it hadn't become real until the evening less than a week ago, when Walter came home close to midnight from the village meeting, bearing a conciliatory pint of burnt caramel from Piccolo's. Bennie had kept herself awake doing combat with the Thursday crossword. He found her glowering at it on her old wooden clipboard. Sorry I'm so late. He sat heavily on the edge of the bed, handed her one of 2 spoons, and dug his own into the ice cream. Public comments went on forever. She listened as he recapped the evening's revelations, at the end of which she gestured with her spoon. You're saying it's really going to happen. I'm saying it already is. Ben, right down the road, you know Garvey's old place? As of last week, there's a new family living there. Black Hat? He managed to combine a confirmatory nod with a reproachful wince at her use of the slang. Never mind that she'd picked it up from him. Walter had grown up around Orthodox Jews in New York. You're saying it's time, then, for us to move? He let a few more seconds elapse, out of respect or as a kind of condolence. After all, she is the one with roots here. Before granting, I am. She'd called the realtor the next morning, not being one to wallow. So that's 2 secrets she's carrying around now. The second, quite literally, she is 10 weeks pregnant. Walter knows, and her OB-GYN. No one else, not until after the wedding. What a thing. Another fact she can hardly believe. As soon as she'd seen the plus sign on the stick, she'd felt herself blush with the preposterousness of it, the unlikely foolishness of finding herself pregnant at age 44. And yet she'd felt this, too, in that first instant. Utterly flush with good fortune. In a gesture that is semi-involuntary and wholly uncharacteristic, Bennie now lays her hand flat against the wall at the end of the tub and runs it down, as if stroking the flank of some loved, ailing creature. In doing so, she dislodges, Oh yea, a few more flakes of paint where the wall is distended and discolored. Signs of...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?